So yesterday was a crazy day. But today, Yankees play early, and I have the lineup for you. What's going on, gang? Happy Sunday. So it's an early game, right? I'm just getting out there to get the lineup for you, too. I have the Yankees lineup against the Orioles. They've won the last two. They've won the series, their first series in 6 weeks. Thank the heavens, okay? I hope they sweep them today, but if they don't, they at least won the series. They are tied for first right now with the Orioles. So head-to-head. If they win today, they'll go a game up, and I would love for them to go a game up into the All-Star break with some momentum, and then hopefully, they'll make some moves over the next week or so as well. So before I get into this lineup, I want to clear something up right now, okay? Yesterday was a crazy day. Obviously, we know what happened. Somebody tried to take out Donald Trump at a Pennsylvania rally yesterday. I don't like talking politics, but I want to clear up the propaganda right now, okay? So many people last night were saying, oh, this is it. Trump's going to win the landslide victory. And people were blaming the current president, Joe Biden, for this. Even members of Congress were doing this, publicly blaming him for it. Well, the records came out today. Public record. It's all over the place. That the shooter, 20-year-old male, was a member of Trump's party. His own people tried to take him out. Okay? I'm not condoning violence of any kind towards anyone, no matter who you vote for or who you support. That's not right, okay? But the fact of the matter is, he did incite violence multiple times. He taunted people who were almost killed too. He did do this. And now we're going to play the phony victim when it happens to him. Let's put this propaganda to bed, please. Let's stop now, okay? I am glad he's okay, but blaming the current president for this is ridiculous, and I hope those people are held accountable, because they're all the people that were blaming him last night are all quiet now. They don't have anything to say because their lies have been shredded by the facts. Sucks, doesn't it? Here's today's lineup. Look at that. Ben Rice back in there, first base, leading off. He's going through a little bit of a tough patch right now, but again, he's a developing kid. So I'm confident that leadoff spot right now, at the very least, that could change in the next couple of days, is probably the best spot for him. I do think he's better suited for the cleanup spot or something like that, but we'll see what the Yankees get. Okay, Juan Soto's batting second in right field. Aaron Judge batting third, DH. Alex Verdugo's at the cleanup spot. Left field. We need his bat to pick up too. Gleyber Torres back off of a pretty good game. He went 3 for 4 with an RBI yesterday at second base. Austin Wells at the dish. He's been showing some toughness and feistiness lately too. Batting sixth at the catcher spot. Anthony Volpe's batting seventh at shortstop. We need his bat to slowly pick up too. Trent Grisham's batting eighth in center field. His glove is going to be welcome in there. And Oswaldo Cabrera's batting ninth at third base. And on the mound, Carlos Rodon. Now, with this lineup, I know some people wondering, why isn't Yorba Vivas playing? I'm guessing, I can't confirm, but I'm guessing because of what Gleyber Torres did yesterday. 3 for 4 with an RBI. They probably want to give him another shot. If he has another good game, at the very least, it might resurrect some trade value for him. Because if they do move him, they want to move him for something. And again, with that said, Brian Cashman, he turned Joey Gallo, who was the worst hitter in the universe, to Clayton Beeter, who's a highly touted Yankees prospect, in a trade, right? He traded Billy McKinney for international money, $500K in international money. So at the very least, you can get at least that for Gleyber Torres. Very least. But we'll see what happens, right? And the fact that they're talking about either Jazz Chisholm a second, and his manager came out yesterday and said publicly they're giving him more playing time at second to increase his trade value. He said that yesterday, okay? So, and they're talking to the Reds about potentially some relievers, and maybe Jonathan India's name is being discussed. Those guys both play second base, or will be playing second base. So that means most likely Gleyber Torres is likely on his way out. I like the kid, but he's likely on his way out. And again, one of those guys, India or Chisholm, could bat leadoff, which would move, and I've said this repeatedly. We already knew Judge and Soto were going to be 2-3. I didn't know. I didn't care about it. I wasn't worried about that. I was more concerned about who's going to set the table at 1 and who's going to back him up at 4. And then, because we know Stanton's probably going to be a 5th. Then you could put Verdugo a little bit down lower, right? Rice a little bit down lower. If Rice is cleanup, fine. Let him be cleanup. Or if somebody else they bring in as cleanup, fine. As long as they lengthen the lineup so that they can't pitch around Soto and Judge, that's what that would be a good idea. Okay. And when the Yankees were firing on all cylinders early on, the lineup was healthy. They were productive. They were lined up properly. Okay. And there was no breath of fresh air from one through six. Okay. We all know 7, 8, 9 is, it's been kind of a rotating, box of average, mediocre. Hopefully they'll add to that. But if you're moving Anthony Volpe down, even Alex Verdugo down, you're adding some production and length to that bottom of the lineup. That's a good thing. And I hope they do that. So, but we'll see what happens. This is why I ask people, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you're not done that yet, and hit all the notifications. That way, when news does come out, you'll get it. When we go live to talk about this stuff, you'll know it, and you can join the party, okay? We had a great live last night. That was a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody that joined us, okay? And today's the draft also, okay, which is going to start tonight at 7 and go until Tuesday. And Ken made a great point. He's a valuable member of 161 family. We were talking about this too, and one of the main reasons why the baseball draft isn't hyped the way the football draft and the basketball draft is because those guys go right from the draft to the pros. They don't do that in the majors. Very rarely would you have a player, except if his name was an Andrew Jones or A-Rod or something like that, it would go from high school right to the majors. Very rarely does that happen. Even Jackson Holiday was highly touted. He couldn't do. He was overmatched when he flew through the system. When he brought him up here, I was batting like a 0. Then he sent them back down. He was killing the minors again. They brought him back up, batting 0 again. He was overmatched. He's not ready for the majors yet. This happens. This is one reason why there's levels at the pros in the baseball world, to give these guys a chance to adapt, right? You can get physically bigger in basketball, right, and just bum rush people. You get stronger. It's not the same thing as hitting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball or a nasty off-speed pitch, right? It's not the same thing. It's completely different. So, and the skill set that's one reason why the skill set's applied differently. So the same thing goes in football. You get faster, you get stronger. Chances are you're going to be defeating the older players. But here we have players in their later 30s and even upwards of the 40s who throw just as hard as the guys that do in the 20s and are more crafty with it. So it's a different sport, different skill set. So that's one reason why I think. And it's one reason why I think the Yankees should draft players at the college level in the top 5 rounds. I did a mock draft yesterday. Take a look at it if you haven't seen it yet. Every player I had was picked in college. Okay. I mean, they have a habit of picking high school shortstops like they did with George Lombard. They did with Anthony Volpe, right? Thankfully, Volpe's up here, but it took him a few years to get up here. And Lombard's probably 3 years away, and he might project to third base. So we just don't know. We just don't know. So I'm hoping that the Yankees will draft in the college levels, especially in the corner infields where they need it the most. There were light corner infields. And the college levels would have them not only potentially starting higher up in the system, but moving up through the system a little bit more systematically and a little bit more efficiently than the kids in high school. They're international players who they draft and they sign, they're generally 15, 16 years old. And they take several years, like Jason Dominguez. They drafted him, I think, 15 or 16. It took him 4 or 5 years to come up here. He didn't come up here until last year at the end of the season. He was 20. He's 21 now. It took him 4 years to get here, right? It happens to everybody in baseball. So I hope you can appreciate that. I mean, I definitely do, and it's one reason why sports. It's hard to be successful in. It's hard to get to the major leagues. So, but that's the lineup. And thank you for listening to me. I wanted to clear up that political stuff in the beginning because too much political stuff is spread on social media and YouTube, and a lot of it's baloney, propaganda, misinformation. And when the facts counter the propaganda, it needs to be said. That's why I say it here. Okay, you can agree with me or disagree with me, but those are the facts. That's all I'm going to say about it. Go Yankees.